Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we are creating this fun little brag book. You can see that I've got a holder that's just a cardboard sleeve, and it's holding these oversized tags that celebrate the adventures of Declan. And this is him at 6 months old. And if you look, you can see that I've set up sort of a pattern. I have the photo, and then I have where I'm going to do the journaling above it. I don't want a photo on the top to be touching against the photo down below. So I'm always going to use the back side of each tag for journaling. In this case, Declan is trying to learn how to crawl, and she says he sits there and he gets in this position and he grunts. She sent this photo to another friend who did a fun little Photoshop, and you can see in Declan's mind, this is how he really feels. The idea is that you're going to put some of your favorite photos in these little tags. You can make the tags and the book, and because this is bound with a ball chain, colored ball chain, it's easy to add photos, take photos out, change it up whenever you want to. In fact, it's easiest to start with these individual tag pages, because the thickness of this is going to help us when we get ready to build the cover. So let's start with these individual tags. What I did is I started with paper, and my paper was 4.5 by 6.5. And then you want to cut off the corners. So what I did is, I have it marked with pencil. I've just marked a little triangle, and once you cut off one of those triangles, you're going to use this triangle, just flip it over and use it as a guide to mark with pencil this side, and then go ahead and cut this side right along your pencil line, and that will give you the tag shape. And then I went back with just a 1/4-inch hole punch and punched out a hole. I found the center of this remaining section and came straight down and marked a 1/4-inch hole, and then I'm just going to cut that out. Use one of these as your guide and just keep using it over and over to create a whole stack of these tag pages. The reason you want to create all the tag pages is it's going to help you when we actually assemble the box. But in order to decorate it, all I did was I just took, and in order to not waste any of my paper, instead of trying to figure out and trace it, I'm going to just put my adhesive directly on the tag. And I know I say this always, but I don't want to waste more of your time than I need to, so I don't do as much adhesive as you probably want to do. Now I'm going to take my tag shape, and I think I can get the most out of it if I line it right up next to the one that I cut before. So I'm going to line up the bottom and the side and press. And then when I turn it over, I don't know how easy it is for you to see. I'm able to use the back side of the tag to cut this out. It makes it really simple to get it so that it just exactly matches. Once I have it cut, then I'm going to go back, and once again I'll use the punch that was already there as my guide to punch back now through the green and create the same hole. So now I've got the base of the decorated page, and what I did is I went back and I added some blue. This was actually just solid blue paper, and I cut out a lighter blue strip just because I couldn't find decorative paper that I liked with this looks like fresh green grass to me, and it seemed like it went really well with the concept of a fresh new little baby. So I'm going to just position this, and where I position this, I'm going to lightly place this down. I'm not going to press too hard because I may move this once I create the little box or the holder. I've got the blue, and then I would write my title. So what I did is I'm going to start with Adventures, because it's the adventures. So I'll go back now And in the middle, I'll put The Adventures of, if I turn this, you can see just hand wrote the title. And then place adhesive on the back and go ahead and attach this. I want it to look like it's evenly spaced. So when I feel like I have sort of an even amount of space on both ends, then instead of cutting it off, I'm going to just wrap it around. I need to add a little more adhesive because I didn't go the whole way. And it didn't quite finish. Now I could just cut another piece of green and patch it in, but what I decided to do on mine was just take stickers and use the stickers to fill in this section. So I think I actually used this one and this one, or actually I think I did this one. It doesn't really matter. Either one will work, but I'm going to take and layer the pink on top of the red. Oops. And then pull it off and use this to just bridge the gap. So that way I don't have to worry about finding more of that little green paper. So you're going to go ahead and decorate the front one. You're going to add the photos to all the back ones. And the reason you're building all of these is because we're going to use this when we build the holder for this whole thing. So let's get to the holder. Here is the paper we're going to start with. It is 11 inches long and it is 5.5 inches tall. And in order to get the score marks, this is where I use my score tool. So let me pull it up, because if you don't use this, oh my gosh, it will save so much time. I probably use this many times a week. What you do is place your paper that's pre-cut 5.5 by 11, and then you're going to come in 1 inch. So at the 1 inch mark, you're going to find the 1 inch, and now you're going to just drag the scoring tool and create that score. Then come over 1/2 inch and make the next score. Then go 4.5 inches, make the next score, add another 1/2 inch, and make the next score, and what's left is 4.5 inches. Then I'm going to turn it and come in 1/2 inch, find that channel, and go all the way down and score. So you get all the score marks just really quickly and perfectly. There, you know, you don't have to worry about whether you have a steady hand and whether your ruler is a little bit crooked. Once you have everything like that, the simplest thing that I found was to cut these notches out. It makes the assembly a little bit easier. But in order to see where to put those notches, you'll be able to see it a little better if I go ahead and I fold first. So I'm going to fold on the score lines. I'll fold this bottom up first. And then open it back up, and all of these folds go the same direction. So either all mountain or all valley folds. Just working my way down, following all those score lines. So you end up with this. And now at these junctures is where you're going to go back. I won't stop to do all of them because I've got another one, but basically every place where these lines intersect, I'm going to cut out this little wedge. And what this does is when you overlap to build this, you won't have an edge that stands out beyond your fold line. In fact, it will make more sense if I just take this one and show you. It's already got the folds. You have a couple of choices. You can fold this so that this overlapping edge sits on the outside. It shows a little, but when you go to slide your cards in and out, it's easier because it isn't going to catch. If it bothers you to see this seam on the outside, then you can put it so that the seam is on the inside and doesn't show. And then whenever you slide your cards in and out, you just have to make sure that you always miss that lip that's inside. It's not, it works both ways. It's really a question of, in fact, I don't even remember how I did this one. Let's look at the back and see. you have to look fairly closely, but you can see I did it on the outside. So we'll go ahead and we'll do it on the outside just to be consistent. So what I'm going to do is place my adhesive so that it's on just the flap, that 1-inch flap. And as I bring this over, this is why you make all the tags first, all these inside tags. It's going to be so much better to have the support of this stack of tags sitting inside so that when I bring this over, I can overlap and push. And I have all the weight of those tags inside to support it while I'm pressing. It's going to do the same thing when I get ready to do the bottom. I'm going to fold in these two edges and I'm going to fold these up. I'm going to need to put adhesive just on this one lip. So I'll go ahead and put adhesive on this inside lip. I can see I should have done the adhesive before I closed it. Because I use removable, I'm going to go ahead and just loosen this up. So I can put my adhesive right here. And I'll go back and close this up. Fold in my edges, fold down, and now fold up. And now it really is important to have the weight of those cards so that I can push against this and really get a nice good seal on the bottom. That would be the back, this would be the front. But pushing on this really helps to set that adhesive. So the other thing that I did is I created a notch just to make it a little bit easier just on the front side. Once again, I should have probably done that before I closed this up, but you can go ahead and take your circle punch, slide it in. You should mark the middle first. I'm going to eyeball when it looks to me like I'm at the middle. But it will give you the notch that will make it really easy to be able to slide these tags in and out comfortably. So let me, like so. It's helpful to have this little edge in order to grab. You can do it in the back as well, but I usually just do the front. Now that you've created the construction, it's really just a question of decorating it. So I'm going to use a partnering or a matching shade of this green paper that I'm going to put adhesive. It's not a belly band because I'm not going to slide it on and off. I'm going to place it. It will help keep closed that seam that we just folded and closed up. So what I'm going to do is decide, I kind of like having it closer to the top or the bottom. I'm not a fan of putting things usually right in the middle, so I'm going to leave a nice healthy chunk at the bottom. And then before I press down really hard, I'm going to make sure, the simplest way to make sure it's straight is, once again, it's going to be helpful to have these tags sitting in here because it will support and let me press down. So I'll bring this around and overlap. I'm going to just create crisp folds just with my fingers on all my fold lines. I will trim off the excess. And then I needed to add some more detail in order to correspond with that front tag. I've made more of this striped paper and I'm going to wrap it all the way around, so I'll put adhesive the whole way. And I want to start where I'm not folding over one of these tiny little pieces because they've just been glued on. I don't want them to pop off by folding such a tiny little section. So I'm going to miss the fold by having it fold the blue, which is the background paper. And then fold around, come around like so, and then overlap right over the top. And you can see how I've added that detail. I won't stop to do it, but I added a second one at the top as well. I want to get to the decoration because it is an easy thing to do. This is just taking simple circle punches and using them to create a flower. I didn't want it to seem too feminine because it's for Declan, and I didn't want it to seem, you know, too girly. So I just did a simple graphic version, but in the colors, you know, to sort of go with his room. So what I've done is I've taken and I've used this larger circle punch, and I'm going to use it to cut out the largest, which is a light blue, and then a smaller, this one is 1.25 inches, although of course the size really doesn't matter. You just need to stagger the sizes. I'll use this for the next size, and then I'll use pattern paper for the final circle, which is going to go on top. And then, of course, I'm going to add the brad. I also think that it's helpful to add some foam adhesive. So what I'll do is I'll take and I'll place these top two together. So I'm going to put adhesive on the back, and let me use my tweezers so my hands are out of the way. Once again, I'm not a big fan of putting things right in the middle. I'm going to put it off center a little bit. And then I'll go back and I'll use just a small hole punch in order to punch a hole where I'm going to place the brad. And I don't want it to be right in the middle either. So I'm going to just punch, and I'll take, this is nice to have this bright orange to really pop these other blue and green colors. And I'm going to poke it through that tiny little hole like so. And then I'll turn it over and open up. This way you'll never see the brad fingers, because what I'm going to do now is put foam adhesive on the back of this. So I'll just take a piece of foam and I can go right over that brad, which will, in fact, I think I'm going to really push and flatten those little fingers guys out, and then place the foam, and I'm going to remove the backing and attach it to the larger circle. And once again, I choose to go not right in the center. And then I'm going to take these and add more foam adhesive to the back of this larger circle. The extra dimension is helpful, and especially when it's on the cover and you're not having to worry about it on the inside pages. I just like the shadow that it creates. So I'll go ahead and add this to, I'll put it right about here. And then the only other thing that I did was I just cut a couple of green leaves and added them in order to complete the decoration on the cover. Then the fun part, of course, you get to go back through, find all your photos, and write the stories that go with the photos. It's just so much fun. Now, I say to you all the time how easy it is to take whatever project that we've done and switch the colors in order to get a whole new look. I thought I would show you how simple it is to do that by taking something that it's made identically. It's just different colored paper. Here is one this is actually, I don't have all the pages inside there at home, but this is one for the girls in my family, and you'll see by just looking at the cover, made identically, but because this is for my sister and myself and my niece and her 2 little girls, it's called Ladies First. You look at, I have the title here on this cover page. So, but just different colored papers. I used a button instead of a brad, built so much the same way so that you can see how easy it is. And like I said, most of my inside pages are at home, but this is just the same idea, and how simple it is to take this concept and just play with it. Oh, and here's a good example. This time I put the flap on the inside. So There you go. Whether you choose to leave your photos full size or you can even trim them down in order to create a smaller box, but placing your photos in a simple sleeve style box, it's perfect for such brag-worthy photos.